Silence called on me today. Silence called on me today. Silence called on me and said, don't let your heart hurt your head. Don't, 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 don't. Silence called on me today and said, don't hurt your head. Now don't say a word. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. And you will be heard. Now don't say a word. You will be heard. Now don't say a word. You will be heard. Don't say a word. And you will be heard. Now don't say a word. Don't say a word. And you will be heard. Silence called on me to speak, and when it is time, speak words divine.
Whoa, I didn't even know this.
bones, soft tissue, and organs of an adult female.
Again, Orion is currently flying behind the backside of the moon, having completed its closest approach at 6:57 a.m. Central, just 81 miles above the lunar surface. And you're looking at a live view inside the Orion spacecraft. This is, of course, an uncrewed test flight, but we do have a couple of purposeful passengers that have hopped a ride on board Orion. You're looking at one there on the left of your screen. That is a Moonikin wearing the Orion crew survival suit. This is the space suit that crew will wear during dynamic phases of flight once we do have a crew on board, particularly during launch and entry situations. OX or Orion crew survival suit can help keep astronauts alive if Orion were to lose cabin pressure during the journey out to the moon. The OX is equipped to up to 6 days of life support systems as the crew makes their way back to Earth. And as part of this uncrewed test flight, there's a variety of sensors and data that will be pulled from the Orion crew survival suit to inform further design ahead of crewed flight test as part of Artemis 2.
Leviticus 9:4, and a bull and a ram as peace offering, to sacrifice before Yahweh, and a grain offering mixed with oil. Sacrifice. Shalem. Salam. Sacrifice for alliance or friendship, peace offering. A sacrifice for the alliance or friendship, peace offering, or an accord.
Good morning and welcome to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. I'm NASA's Sandra Jones, and we're bringing you live coverage from Mission Control Houston of the upcoming outbound powered flyby, in which Orion will fly behind the moon and perform a burn utilizing the Orbital Maneuvering System engine, which was checked out on Tuesday following launch of Orion atop the Space Launch System. The engine has been performing well and has completed a series of additional expected trajectory correction burns, and all spacecraft systems are performing well now over 5 days into the flight of Artemis 1. Today we're in the white flight control room where Flight Director Rick LeBrode is leading the team on console for today's flyby and burn. Just moments ago, Flight Director Rick Road
Burn
hold the team here in
Holocaust.
Mission Control, and we are go for the OPF burn. We do expect to lose signal of Orion as it travels behind the backside of the moon, as the moon will be blocking the direct sight to the Deep Space Network. We're tracking that loss of signal to begin
That's
just
when
about
they
10 minutes from now at
converse with the
6:25
Lord.
a.m. Central, and will last just over 34 minutes. While in the loss of signal, the outbound powered flyby will take place with the orbital maneuvering system engine at 6:44 a.m. Central. The outbound powered flyby will send Orion close enough to the lunar surface to leverage the moon's gravitational force and swing the spacecraft once around the moon toward entry into distant retrograde orbit. Following this, Orion will remain in the distant retrograde orbit for one long elliptical orbit around the moon, lasting about 6 days. Occur with the orbital maneuvering system, or OMS engine, which has been used several times already in Orion's flight. The OMS. At this time, Orion is only 1,600 miles away from. At this time, Orion is only 1,000.
ZOHAR, Splendor Radiance.
Include flight tests. However, we do have some typical passengers on board. One of those is Irene Cara, named after Arturo Campos, who was a valuable player during the Apollo 13 mission in Mission Control Houston. Commander Irene Campos is a mannequin that will allow us to measure radiation, acceleration, and vibration data throughout the mission. The info gathered from him and the other two Phantom mannequins, Helga and Zohar, will help us prepare for future cruise
ZOHAR?
missions.
Like the Zohar from the
throughout the mission. The info gathered from him and the other two phantom mannequins, Helga and Zohar,
Phantom
will help us prepare for future cruise
Zohar?
missions.
Like the Zohar from the Kabbalist book of the Zohar? Or like the Zohar from the Kabbalist book of the Zohar? It's the Bible of Kabbalah, basically. Adam Sandler has a movie. She's the story, the German story of Helga. They're not hiding anything. Adam Sandler had a movie said, like, don't mess with the Zohar, which is a play on the word Zohar, which is a collection of books that are pretty ancient. And we have some in the White House. Remember, she said phantom. So in this Adam Sandler movie called Don't Mess with the Zohar, there is actually somebody there called Phantom. A phantom guy who's supposed to be a terrorist, a Palestinian terrorist, and in Israel. And it's called Phantom. So upon watching that movie, you'll see more and more about what Zohar is and the magic, because like Adam Sandler plays this like messianic figure who's like a savior to Israel, and he just wants to be a hairstylist. So again, in the Zohar, there's a part called the work of physiognomy, which is the wisdom of the hand and the face. And remember, her name is Cara, Irene Cara, which means face in Spanish. So in the Zohar, this is where palm reading and reading people's faces to tell their futures and fortunes. It's called Hotma Hayad HaPartsuf. So Hotma means wisdom. So let there be wisdom for those who have wisdom. So wisdom of face. So in case you wonder if she passed away mysteriously, they probably could read her face and see exactly what happened to her. And maybe that's what we'll have to do. We have to get this book and find out what happened to her by looking at her face. Her Cara, and her last name was Escalar, which means to escalate or to rise or to go above. So she's like a perfect candidate for NASA to sacrifice her for this mission, right in the middle of the mission, like tomorrow. It'll be about 11 or 12 days into the mission, leaving only like 12 to 13 days left. We're halfway between everything tomorrow. She passed on the 25th, which was one of the days that they had that burn, retrograde burn. And remember what retrograde means? Retrograde means to like debir. It means to like speak to God, to go speak to God in the temple. And so in the Holy of Holies, that's usually only done on the day of Yom Kippur. And the guy named Zohar, who's again a play on Zohar, Splendid, he's wearing a star in the movie, and his last name is Dever, which is like Devir. The V and the B are interchangeable in Hebrew. And then when they show the Phantom before he fakes his death, they show him at a tournament that they say, they call it a hacky sack tournament, but I wonder if it has anything to do with FIFA going on right now, the World Cup in Qatar, an Arab nation. He's got Arabic on his head. This is the Phantom. Remember, the Phantom, Zohar, is in the Orion capsule right now, in the back of the moon, where they get to speak to God. At the temple, the hindmost temple. Here on his head it says Shabaha. It could be Sheba. Shabaha. I have to look it up to see what that means. But he's eating some pita chips, it looks like. You know, so much mockery. It's a lot of mockery. But it says Beirut here, but they're in Qatar right now. The soccer game, World Cup, which is, again, a nod to the Holy Grail, the Holy Cup, that's supposed to be where, you know, Jesus' blood was spilled into the Holy Cup. Holy Grail. A woman's a mannequin from Egypt, and she's...
Stop saying that.
This is lady, a princess from ancient Egypt who doesn't want to get married, so she pretends to be a mummy, hiding from her mom, and ends up becoming a mannequin. Her spirit goes into a mannequin.
Oh, please, God, get me out of this. You turn down the jewel. You turn down the grain. You turn down the Pharaoh's food tasting. There's only one man left who'll have you. You are going to marry Hazarah.
So, what does he do?
He's a fuel merchant.
Mother.
All right, so he sells camel dung. Forget it. You forget it.
Mother, I don't want to settle down. I want to do things. I want to invent things. I want to try things that nobody's ever tried before. I want to fly.
Sure. And I want to smoke and tell your father to go to hell. Oh. And I thought we women could anyway change anything. Don't you think?
That's the Ba. That's the soul right there.
These are the
ancient Egyptian soul.
Mother, there's got to be a better way.
It's either the Ka or the Ba.
Please, gods. Please, help me find it.
Sure, the Nile is overflowing. There is a wheat shortage. The Pharaoh has hemorrhoids to worry about than you. What? Abby! Abby?
You might not want to believe these ceremonies are happening, but they are. Irene Cara starred in that musical called Sparkle, which was about these sisters who wanted to have a singing group back in the 50s. And it was a great movie. A lot of people used to, you know, they remade the movie. And guess who was supposed to be in the remake of the movie? Aaliyah.
God has his own time. I have to put it in that perspective because 12 years ago, 13 years ago, Aaliyah was to play this part. She was our Sparkle. And she was absolutely perfect for it. She wanted it and she was preparing for it. And we were going to do this thing. And Warner Brothers had the project and we were just all down with it and just happy. Very sad and very memorable moment for me. I remember just crying fiercely. And profusely, and I just looked up and I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't even about Sparkle, it was just the whole happening, you know what I'm saying, and happening, you know what I'm saying, and I was going to meet with her that next week before that tragedy, and I was going to meet with her that next week before that tragedy.
Silence called on me today. Silence called got to be ready.